All right, if you're a business owner, you know the deal. Growth means having the right tools. But man, those game-changing tools can have a pretty staggering price tag. So today we're going to break down equipment financing. It's a super powerful way to get the gear you need to scale up like right now. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You've found it, the perfect piece of equipment. Maybe it's an excavator, a new truck, or even just a whole suite of new computers, and you know it could take your business to a whole new level. There's just one problem, right? That upfront cost would be a massive hit to your cash flow. And that is the exact moment where equipment financing comes into play.
So what is this stuff really? Well, it's pretty simple. It's a loan that's specifically designed for buying business equipment. But here's the secret sauce. The equipment you're buying is the collateral for the loan. This makes it way easier to get approved compared to a traditional bank loan because, the lender has a physical asset backing their investment from day one.
Okay, so the idea makes sense, but what does it actually mean for your business? In the real world, what kind of gear can you really finance? And maybe more importantly, what should you expect to pay? Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
The range of what you can finance is way broader than most people think. We're not just talking about massive yellow iron on a construction site. Yeah, of course it covers semi-trucks and bulldozers, but it also includes everything from dump trucks and garbage trucks all the way down to the computers and software you need to run your office. Basically, if it's a tool your business needs to operate and grow, you can probably finance it.
Now for the million-dollar question, or maybe the $10,000 question, what's it going to cost? Here's a really simple rule of thumb you can keep in your back pocket. For every 10 grand you finance, you can expect a monthly payment of around $260, assuming you have good credit. Now, if your credit's a little weaker, that number might climb closer to $460. This is just a super powerful way to quickly ballpark your payments while you're out there shopping.
All right, you know what you want to buy, and you have a rough idea of the cost. So how does a lender look at you and decide if you're a good bet? Let's break down the 4 key things they're going to be looking at when they see your application.
Lenders are always looking at a mix of things to figure out their risk. First up, no surprise, your credit score, both personal and for the business. Second, your time in business. The longer you've been around, the less risky you seem. Third is revenue. They just want to see that you have consistent cash flow to make those payments. And finally, the equipment itself. Its age, type, and price tag all play a role in the kind of deal you're going to get.
We all know a good credit score is important. We hear it all the time. But how much does it actually affect your bottom line? When it comes to dollars and cents, the difference, it can be absolutely huge.
Okay, now this slide is where the rubber really meets the road. Look at this. On a $50,000 loan, an A credit borrower pays about $960 a month. But a C credit borrower, you're looking at almost $1,100. And that difference adds up so fast. Over the 5 years of that loan, it cost you nearly $7,000 extra dollars. That's money that could have gone right back into your business.
And this brings me to a really critical warning. It's so tempting to just apply everywhere to see who gives you the best deal, but you have to be careful. Every time a lender does what's called a hard pull on your credit, it can ding your score. Too many of those in a short time, it signals risk, kind of makes you look desperate for credit, and it actually hurts your chances of getting the best rate.
But hey, don't let all this talk about credit scores get you down. The world of equipment financing is actually way more flexible than you'd think. There are specialized lenders out there who are totally willing to work with newer businesses, sometimes with as little as 6 months under their belt. Some don't even have a minimum credit score, as long as you can show that you have consistent monthly revenue coming in.
Okay, so you get the key factors for getting approved. Now, where do you actually go to get this financing? And what kind of deals should you expect to see? Let's start decoding the options.
This right here illustrates a huge decision you'll have to make. Going to a traditional bank might get you a slightly lower interest rate, but they're often super strict, requiring mountains of paperwork, and they might even put restrictions on your business. A specialized lender, though, they live and breathe equipment. They get its value, which means they're usually faster, way more flexible, and more willing to finance used gear that a bank probably wouldn't even look at.
So once you get an offer, it's easy to assume that the monthly payment is just set in stone. But that's not always the case. There are actually different ways to structure a loan to fit your business's unique cash flow needs.
Now, check this out. On a standard $100,000 loan, you might pay about $2 grand a month, right from day one. But look at the step-up program. For that entire first year, your payments are basically cut in half to less than $1,000. This is designed to give you some breathing room while that new equipment starts making you money. Then, once it's up and running, your payments increase. It's just a really smart way to manage your cash flow when you're starting a new project.
You know, getting approved for financing is one thing, but getting the right financing for your business, that's another story. So let's cover some pro tips to help you navigate the process wisely and, just as important, avoid some common, really costly mistakes.
And man, this is a powerful, real-world example of what I'm talking about. A business owner, he chose a used machine to save $46,000 up front. Seems smart, but just 4 months later, it broke down. And the 3 weeks of downtime it cost him a $100,000 contract. It's just a brutal reminder that the cheapest option isn't always the best one, especially when reliability is on the line.
Okay, now for a major pro tip that your accountant is going to love. Ask them about Section 179 of the tax code. It's this fantastic incentive that lets you deduct the full purchase price of your equipment from your gross income, all in the first year. So by lowering your taxable income, it can save you thousands. It basically acts like a huge discount on the machine itself.
Hey, remember that warning about multiple hard inquiries hurting your credit score? Well, here's the solution. When you're shopping around, ask lenders if they can pre-approve you with a soft pull. This does not impact your credit score, so it lets you see what kind of terms you qualify for without any penalty at all. It's just the smart way to compare offers.
And the great news is the process itself has become incredibly simple and streamlined. It's not like the old days. It's typically just 4 simple steps. You apply online, a specialist helps you pick the right solution for you, you sign the documents electronically, and then you get your money. No more endless meetings or stacks of paperwork.
And that last step, getting funded, it is fast. We are not talking about weeks of waiting like you might with some traditional loans. Most of the time, from the moment you apply to the money hitting your bank account, the entire process takes just 1 to 3 business days. You can literally find your equipment on a Monday and have it out there working for you by Friday.
So we'll just leave you with this one thought. Now that you know how accessible and how fast equipment financing can be, what is the one piece of gear that could fundamentally transform your business? That tool that could take you to the next level, it might just be a lot closer than you think. Thanks for joining us.